Yeah. By the way, we got to get some Hoosier talk in there. I got to tell you, I'm really interested in the Indiana Ohio State game. Okay,
Well,
does that
we
mean
all are
does that?
because we don't know. So
Yes,
because we don't know.
I'm calling your defense the Island of Misfit Toys because like there's so many new faces that are in there. I have this feeling. I've had it since about late July, early August, since I did my Indiana deep dive. I've had this feeling that maybe these pieces coming together are going to be a little bit better than some people realize. I think there's a real chance that some of those guys on the D line are going to pop. And I think they can get some pressure from the linebackers. Because I feel like if Tom Allen has some decent pieces to work with, he'll put a decent defense out there. And he's smart enough to know that Ohio State is mostly unproven at their tackles, offensive tackles, and at quarterback. I don't know. I mean, I know this is a middle school level take, but I would just blitz the heck out of Ohio State. I know it's going to leave you open with those wide receivers sometime, but just blitz the heck out of him. See if you can make a young quarterback make a mistake or two.
And that's the issue. The one knock on Indiana's defense that I keep hearing is that they may be weak in the secondary, which is a real Achilles heel against this particular team who has the best receiving core in the country. So exactly what you're saying, that could be disastrous. But I do agree. Not knowing much about them because we haven't seen them, I still feel they're better across the board. I know they're better at the offensive line because of coaching, number one, but they've also made some upgrades. They got some big guys back. Bedford. The running backs room was already good, and it's still good. It got a little bit better, but you still have Jalen Lucas and Josh Henderson. The question is, I think the line's going to be better, but can they block? Can they open holes? Can they protect the quarterback? Boom. Yeah. If that doesn't happen, nothing else freaking matters. But the quarterback, now we have to move to the quarterback who we don't know who that's going to be. How is he going to handle the most absurd pressure he's going to see ever in his life?
Yeah, I would say the matchup that would scare me the most if I'm a Hoosier fan is the Hoosier O-line versus that Buckeye line. I mean, it's been a couple years since Ohio State's defensive line has been considered a monster. I mean, it was like the Bosa's through Chase Young. There was just an absolute, game wrecker every time. It hasn't been the case the last 2 years. So like people have cooled on their, talking about Ohio State's, D line, but I think they'll start paying attention here pretty quick because this is a really good Ohio State D line. But on the other side, I do think there's a chance Indiana's D line can be a stalemate or even favor Indiana if what I think I could see could happen. If that's the case, like let's just go under the assumption that Indiana's D line plays well versus Ohio State's offensive line, then I absolutely love the plus 30.5 points for Indiana. This is a home game, Big Ten team. I know it's Ohio State, but
you mean plus 30.5?
Isn't that what I said? I think I said plus 30.5, didn't I? But anyways, over
plus
touchdown. I definitely meant plus 30.5. So
plus 30. I do too, because here's why I think it is, because I agree with everything you're saying. And I where most people, well, none of us know. I think they play one quarterback and stick with one quarterback, whoever he is.
And who do we think that's going to be? Okay, who do we think it's going to be?
I've said Brendan Sorsby.
I've said Taven Jackson. We've had different opinions on this the entire time.
Most people have guessed Taven Jackson.
Okay, I've guessed Taven Jackson, but we don't know though. I would want Taven Jackson in this game simply because of the escapability, and maybe he can pick up a 3rd and 7 with his legs type of deal.
We don't know, but we don't know that he's better at than Brendan Sorsby.
And there's been people, and Jim, you've heard this too. I know there's people that have said Brendan Sorsby is better with his legs than Taven Jackson.
Okay,
even though you would expect the other way around.
It may not better, but just as good. So it's all. We'll find out tomorrow. Indiana Creek Walker thinks it's clearly Jackson. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who it is. Can they handle the pressure, running the offense, dealing with the situations they're going to deal with? Because they've never dealt with this ever. Not what they're going to see tomorrow. And Ohio State is going to do everything they can because they know that. They're like, oh, we got a rookie back here. Oh, yeah. So they are going to do everything they can.
Come at him. Yeah, I mean, they're going to come at him. They're not going to let drawing a blank. Lucas, sorry, I had Jackson in my head, but they're going to try to not let Lucas beat them. I would think they would focus on essentially hugging up the middle against the good running backs and then focusing, third downs and whatnot on Lucas. But I still think Lucas will make a play. I think Lucas will make a play on special teams. I mean, I just feel like if Indiana gets me 14 points, I feel pretty good that they can keep Ohio State, somewhere under 50 to cover the game, under 45, whatever. So I don't know. That's what I'm seeing. I think I just have this gut feeling that midway through the second quarter, the narrative will of course be, does Ohio State suck? Right? Because if it's a close game, that's what people are going to say. Oh, what's wrong with Ohio State? I think it'll be more that Indiana's tougher than people think, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we will. And I the one thing I've said, not knowing, I can't wait for this game just to get a gauge on the team for the rest of the year, because I agree with a lot that you're saying, that they're just better across the board. They're better.
And what you're saying is Indiana is better. Indiana is better across the board than what they were last year, is what you're saying.
Yes. As a team, not that Ohio State. And
I think
going forward, if they are, I think they have the opportunity to put them. I know they have the opportunity, if they are, to put themselves in a position just to make a bowl game. There are games. There are enough games on this schedule. This is not one of them that I expect to win, but you got to win the Louisvilles, those Rutgers, Maryland, Purdue.
I would say
games. Those are the games you got to win.
I don't think this is necessarily a litmus game for Indiana this weekend, so much. But the next three games obviously would be. I mean, you got to pick up a win in the second game, and then we'll see that Louisville game 3. That'll be the first. Are we making a bowl or not swing game, in my opinion? I mean, I think they're going to be 1-1 going into that game. So that's the big game. But, there's definitely things you can start looking at and working on week 1, even if it's against Ohio State. So it'll be exciting to see.